If you had to define who you are in one sentence, what would you say? Most of us look deeply inward for the answer, assuming that finding yourself is entirely a solo project. But that inward search usually just leads to a list of labels. You try to build an identity out of the sports you play, the clothes you wear, or the group you sit with at lunch. You're constantly auditioning for a new personality, hoping to finally discover one that actually feels like it fits. This search becomes even more frantic when you open social media. You aren't just looking for yourself anymore. You're comparing your real life to the highlights of everyone else. It turns your self-worth into a number that fluctuates based on how much validation strangers give you. The psychological cost of this is a fragmented self. You find yourself shifting your personality to match the crowd you're with, pulling your energy in a dozen different directions just to stay relevant. When you try to find your true self by measuring the opinions of others, you ensure that you will stay anxious, disconnected, and perpetually lost. This crisis exists because we've been told we should be the center of our own universe, that our own ego is the only thing that matters. The problem is structural. A single human ego lacks the gravitational mass to hold a complex life together. Your career, relationships, and choices are too heavy for yourself to anchor, so the system starts to drift. You feel this drift as a constant sense of being overwhelmed. Without a center strong enough to hold things in place, every decision feels like a burden, and every setback feels like a total collapse. You cannot fix this by trying harder to control the pieces. You have to find a center that actually has the mass to hold your world together. In Islam, that immovable center is found in the Shahada. There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. This is frequently misunderstood as a mere ritual, a phrase repeated until it becomes background noise. It is actually a total realignment of your primary allegiance. It marks the moment you stop trying to invent your own meaning and start recognizing your life as a deliberate, divine creation. By declaring the Shahada, you move from being an accident searching for a purpose to a servant of the Creator who already has one. This shift is driven by the concept of Tawheed, the absolute oneness of Allah. Tawheed changes your internal mechanics. It directs your fear of judgment and need for validation toward a single source. When you stop pleasing everyone, the chaos settles. This absolute center gives your goals, habits, and character the gravity to stay in orbit. Choosing to submit to Allah isn't a loss of power. It is an act of rebellion against the crushing weight of what everyone else expects you to be. When Allah is the undeniable center, the rest of your life doesn't need to be forced into place. It follows naturally. This realignment creates a unique kind of freedom. Your worth is no longer a project you have to work on every day. It's a fact defined by your Creator. This is why the compare and despair cycle stops working on you. A follower count or a social media trend can't hurt you because they have no authority over your purpose. It also removes the stress of fitting in. You can stay consistent in your values because your sense of belonging isn't tied to the permission of a peer group. There is a massive power shift that happens here. When you serve the King of Kings, the noise of the crowd becomes completely irrelevant. It's the great paradox of faith. Giving everything to the one Creator is the only thing that makes you independent of everyone else. The Shahada acts as a permanent compass. It simplifies the most overwhelming choices because you finally know where you are going. Every other pillar of the faith, the prayer, the fasting, the charity, only becomes accessible once this first declaration is made. It is the requirement that makes everything else possible. But this isn't just a thought. You have to own it. You have to choose to live as if that center is real. If you are ready to reclaim your identity, subscribe and join the conversation. Tell us in the comments what the Shahada has changed for you. We pray that Allah keeps us all firm on this path. Changing your entire destiny doesn't require a lifetime of searching. It starts with a single sentence.